Hello everyone, my name is Eli Evans. I'm a retired NYPD police officer. I served honorably for close to 17 years, protecting the public and keeping New York City safe. And I'm here today recording this public video pursuant to my freedom of speech, which is protected under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, because I cannot stay silent anymore. I have 3 beautiful children whom are being withheld from me with zero basis in law or facts. Like millions of other fathers and mothers, I could have never, ever imagined being a victim of this judicial system, the divorce industrial complex, and I have an obligation to bring my experience to the public's attention because this critical topic is being ignored for far too long, and rarely, if at all, is spoken about and critiqued. I started my career at a young age with the police department. I viewed it as an honorable profession, protecting and serving the community. As life goes on, like any ordinary person, I met my wife, whom I subsequently married and had 3 beautiful children with, 2 beautiful boys and a girl. Like most marriages, I didn't invest my time expecting to get divorced. But the reality is, folks, nobody can predict the future. As a law enforcement officer, little did I know what I was about to face. Please allow me to explain briefly. In June of 2020, which was during COVID, I was served with a frivolous order of protection issued to me by a family court attorney referee by the name of Genevieve Tahang Behan, if I said it right. I was not present at the hearing, and the original petition did not include my children. However, as I learned later, upon a strategically placed inquiry proactively made by referee Tahang Behan during the ex parte hearing, my children were added as a protected party. Isn't that insane? Protected from their own loving and caring father. Since then, for over 2 years, I was not able to regain any semblance of normal access to my own children, who love and miss me dearly, and I miss them every day as well. My divorce case has been pending during all this time in Kings County Supreme Court, which is located in Brooklyn, New York. And it's being heard in front of Judge Rachel Amy Adams. Folks, I was never arrested, nor charged, nor convicted of a crime. Yet, I've been treated by the courts, particularly by Judge Adams, worse than a convicted felon. Years and years of honorably serving with the police department means nothing. The fact of the matter is that I had a gun as part of my job to protect the citizens of New York were actually used against me. I, who protected New Yorkers from felons, am being treated worse than a felon. Worse than a felon, folks. Rather than this judge, I should say, come up with a temporary custody ruling so that I can see my 3 little children while this case was pending. Judge Rachel Adams ordered me to have supervised visitations with my own children through an obscure and murkily funded agency called CFS, also known as Comprehensive Family Services, which gets a lot. They get a lot of work if you look them up from New York judges. Not only that, I was ordered to pay to play scheme, as I call it, for seeing my own children. Think about that for a second. The state takes away my children from me, and then it orders me to pay to see them for morsels of time in a completely unnatural, alienating, hostile environment in which your every move is micromanaged and every gesture is scrutinized. Who would have thought that I would fall prey to this blatant judicial tyranny? It only gets worse, folks. It only gets worse. After being, for all intents and purposes, forced into unlawful supervised visitations, and I probably need to record a separate video about my attorneys who are just a part of the same system, as I later realized. So again, to reiterate, after being forced into that unlawful supervised visitation setting, I kept being strung along endlessly, jumping through hoops with no end in sight. All of the visits were fully positive. My 3 children missed me terribly, and expressed so much love for me. When are we going to see you, Daddy? When are we going to go to your apartment? Why can't you spend more time with us? Horrible. Even the state assigned attorney for the children, Joel Bornstein, agreed multiple times on the record, that no supervision was necessary. You would think that at least based on CFS's report, tyrant Judge Rachel Adams would finally grant normal, unrestricted access to me, who's their loving father, to enjoy the society of my 3 children. Of course not. All my motions to regain access to my children were denied, and Judge Adams even had the audacity to gag me from submitting additional motions to the court without her permission. Isn't that her job? Her job is to adjudicate motions, but rather than do that, I'm permitted from filing. This is another separate clear-cut violation of the United States Constitution, in particular, the freedom to petition government, which is a clause of the First Amendment. This went on for close to 2 years, and at some point, I simply ran out of money to pay for it all, to see my children, because I had to pay my lawyers, and I had to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars in temporary child and spousal support. This is just the tip of the iceberg of all the blatant unconstitutionality of all that I've been experiencing. For example, Judge Rachel Amy Adams denied me the right to be tried in front of a jury of my peers. That's guaranteed, folks. Twice, not once, but twice in the 6th and 7th Amendments. But apparently that doesn't mean anything to Judge Adams. I finally had enough and had no choice but to file a federal lawsuit against Judge Adams. This lawsuit is currently pending in the District Federal Court. And I've laid out the egregious civil rights violations committed by her, Judge Adams, against me and my children. Imagine that. Despite the fact that I exposed the unconstitutionality and clear bias of her decision and clear conflict of interest, Adams is a defendant in a lawsuit I filed against her, which she's a defendant. She still refused to recuse herself and continues to this day to torment me and my children. I have much more to share with the court of public opinion, but I must speak out now. I must speak out now in this short introductory video. After serving many, many years with the NYPD, I could have never imagined such widespread corruption and disdain within the court system towards the United States Constitution, my children's God-given, not government-given, and freedom to have a father, my freedom to be a father, my right to due process, and to have a trial in front of a jury of my peers, which would see right through all the typical fabricated allegations against me to gain an upper hand in my divorce. Thank you all for listening. Please pray for me and for my 2 young sons and my daughter who are being forcefully isolated and alienated from me for over 2 years with no end in sight. Thank you.